Today, I'm really, really excited to introduce Shelley Fowler from Fabulous 50s channel. Woohoo! Welcome, Shelley.
Thank you, Rachel. It's great to be here.
I am so excited to have this chat with you because it was 2017 that we met that Shelley started her YouTube channel. And I'll never, ever forget that you're like, I want to make a difference to women. I don't know how. I don't really feel comfortable in front of the camera. I just want to make a difference. And I just know this is my calling. Can you remember that conversation we had?
I do remember that. And I was terrified to go on camera. And I'd already made a couple of videos, and it's like I had this burning passion inside of me, and the voices in my head were telling me to do this, but I was so nervous, and I'm very shy and an introvert by nature. So it just didn't make sense for me to be doing what I was doing. It didn't make any sense at all. So I think you and I had a conversation, and I saw one of your ads, and we had a phone conversation. And straight away I said to you, yep, okay, let's do this. And normally I would, really think about committing to doing a program like this. But you put me at ease, and you said a few things to me that sort of made me think that I would be able to get through what I was going to do.
And look at you now. I just want to say I am so just in awe. I am so excited. I love watching you. And you hit 1 million subscribers last week.
I did.
Last week or a few days ago.
Yep. Thank you.
My God, that is just incredible. So sitting here today and just being able to celebrate this moment with you is just so amazing. So I've got a bunch of questions that I know so many people that are watching are busting to find out.
Okay, great. So your audience is still predominantly women?
Yeah, predominantly women.
And all making video?
Making video, growing their business,
afraid
of being seen. Yeah.
Hello, friend. Friends, because we're afraid of being seen.
Well, and that's the thing, that people just won't believe that when they see your videos. So, Shelley, talk to me about your background. Like, where did this entrepreneurial spirit come from? Did you grow up in that area?
My parents definitely weren't entrepreneurs, but I had a spirit inside of me when I was very young. I used to, make lemonade and sell it out the front of the street, but always very, very shy. So my sister would come and she'd be the confident one to sell, but it was always my idea to make money and to create something out of nothing. And then when I met my husband, before we got married, we started our first business. I was 21 and he was 22. And we just stayed in business for our entire working career, which led to Fabulous 50s, because we retired. We sold a business, we retired. That was it. Life was hard. We wanted to relax. But as I said before, this voice was in my head, do this. And I'm going, no, I'm exhausted. I just want to stop. But and what had other.
And what do you think that voice was? Like, what do you believe that voice was that was guiding you?
I believe that was my calling, because it wouldn't go away. And when, we worked for 7 days a week pretty much for 30 years. So we were exhausted. We'd saved enough money to retire, and life was great and it was easy, because when you're in that, you think, I'm just going to travel and I'm going to read a book and I'm going to sip champagne in the pool. But once you've done that, it's like, okay, this is really boring. It was fun, but when you've got a spirit inside of you that wants to keep going, that's not enough. So that was my big goal, to reach that place in my life where I didn't have to do so much anymore. But now I'm doing a whole lot more than I've ever done.
And with the fear of being seen or being an introvert, like you said before, What was going through your mind there to start a YouTube channel when you did feel like that?
I was terrified to do it. I remember my brother, like a year earlier, I said to him, I used to make videos in we owned a holiday park. So I created video for all the elements of the park, you know, before video was in. So I'd walk around with the camera and I'd bring in the talent, and I'd design all the scenes and the you know, and I'd get, you know, it was a whole big thing, but put me in front of the camera, I couldn't speak. And I used to laugh, and my one of my team members, Michael, used to follow me around with the camera, and I said, you know, I'd say, Michael, that was terrible, wasn't it? And he'd go, yeah, I'm sorry to say, but it was terrible. So my brother Mark he came over one day and he said, okay, let's practice you speaking in front of camera. And we did it over and over and over again. And I was terrible. I just couldn't do it. There was something inside of me. It was this little voice saying, you can't do this. You're really bad. So I left that for a year or two. And yeah, I think when I spoke to you, I kind of opened up a little bit. And I knew that what I was doing in real life was actually making a difference to people's lives that I was working with. And I wanted to make that, you know, what I did on YouTube. That's why I chose YouTube.
Amazing. And what was missing out there in the world for you to decide to create Fabulous 50s? Because I remember when we first looked at YouTube, remember when we were looking at the name and the search terms, there was only 1950s cars that were coming up under the Fabulous 50s name. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's true. And I think what was missing was a focus on women as they get older, because the whole world revolves around, you know, Gen Y and, you know, youth. And then there's the baby boomers who are older. So for women like me, it's just like, oh, well, you know, there's what's the use? There's not much happening. Our kids leave home. We go, okay, what's left? And then, you know, you just sort of sink into nothing. And I just wanted to help people understand that, okay, all of that's changed, but it's really good, because now we have this time and this freedom and this fire in our belly to go and create something new. So, yeah, I think for me, what I saw that was missing was this focus on older women being amazing.
And did you do any research in that, or you just knew from your own experience looking for it that this was something that was just not out there?
Well, at that point, I hadn't done any research, only my experience with taking women out and doing styling with them. So, you know, their self-esteem was so low, but yet they were amazing people. So I couldn't understand, you know, what's going on. And then they would put an outfit on and I could see them looking in the mirror just going, yeah, that looks really good. I feel beautiful. So that's what I loved. It was that change. And it didn't mean that they had to spend a lot of money on clothes or buy a particular brand. It was kind of like they were experimenting with what they've got, or what they could tweak here and tweak there. And when they experimented and changed things up a little bit, their spirits lifted. So that's what I loved.
Wow, that's amazing. So going from that idea to have just feeling it was a calling. You just felt drawn and wanting to make that difference.
Yeah.
So with your YouTube channel, what made you choose YouTube?
I have no idea.
It was just a video platform that was popular, or you just...
It was a video platform. I mean, I didn't really use YouTube in the way, you know, a lot of people do. If my fridge was broken, I'd go on to figure. No, I didn't really, because Chris did that. If the heel of my shoe broke, I'd go on and figure out how to glue it back together or something like that. I didn't use it as a means of entertainment. It was, I'll go there to see what I can fix and see how to do it.
Yeah.
But now it's education. It's everything. I find out everything on YouTube. If I want to learn something, I go there first, and then you find more resources, and so it's
Amazing.
everything now.
So what drove you to, because you have been consistent from as long as as long as you've been doing a YouTube channel, the integrity that you have around showing up week after week, doing a video, and what drove you to do that?
I guess it's in my training, being in business all these years. You got to show up every day, no matter what. You've got to be you're responsible for everything, no matter what. So I was already well trained in that. But most people are, if they're working as well, you've got to show up. So I think that was ingrained in me anyway. But I committed. I made a commitment. This is what I'm going to do. And, I want to make a difference. So if I wanted to make a difference, I had to show up every week. So I just committed to doing one video a week, which is a lot harder than you think it is when you're starting. And that's what I did. I did it every single week, and I just kept learning more and getting a better education around my topics, researching, learning how to use YouTube and how to do better. And so it's constant learning for me, but the commitment was always there.
And do you think something switched in you that it was like, right, I'm making a decision that I want to create a successful YouTube channel? Was that mindset there to create a successful YouTube channel? Because going to 1 million subscribers is amazing. Not everybody gets to do that. So
it wasn't a like, I didn't say, okay, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and it's going to be really successful and I'm going to make a lot of money and I'm going to sell this and I'm going to, do all this. There was none of that, because for the first entire year, I think I told you, I would make a video about something I was passionate about, and then I'd put it out and I'd say, I hope nobody sees it. I don't want anyone to see it. I was terrified. And I'd say, someone I know would see it, and I'd say to them, don't share it with anyone. Just like, it's okay if you saw it, but don't share it. So I had a whole year of that. And in my first year, I had about 30 or 40,000 subscribers.
Which is amazing. And what do you think, what was the key to that? Where did you see that significant growth happen, do you think? What video?
Well, there was a video, I think, I can't even remember, but I made a video about training my arms and how flabby my arms were. And my kids were there with me, and they're into bodybuilding, and they used to make fun of me. So I think I told the audience that, and this is what I did. And when you're older, everything.
I love that video, by the way. I still think of it when I'm at the gym.
Yeah. So that happened, but I had a year to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I didn't rush in and go, yeah, I'm going to do this, boom, boom, boom. It took me that long to feel okay. And then when I finally felt okay with it, that's when I grew.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
And do you think that, when you did shift, was it a conscious, like, right, now I'm going to take it to the next level? Like, did you ever go, right, this is what I want to create? Like, have you got a vision now for where you want to take it?
I've definitely got a vision now after 3 years. But it's only, I guess for the whole time I've been thinking about the questions that my audience ask, and, how can I find a solution for that? How can I deliver it in a way that's going to be easy to understand and it's going to make a difference? So my mind is there now, like, how can I make a big difference? But for the first 2 years, no, it was just like, I'm going to show up, share what I know, and, and see what happens. So it was very gradual and organic for me in that sense.
Amazing.
And, a lot of people will have businesses who are working with you, and they need to get it out there. So that's great as well. And if you've got some confidence, that's everything, because I think that really helps when you're in front of camera.
It changes everything when it's, and I say to people, it's multidimensional. It's not just you think you're going to be on camera and that's what is present, but it's how you feel. It's the energy that you put out there. It's just
exactly.
There's so many levels to being seen in the unseen as well.
Yeah, and a lot of women, as they get older, they feel unseen. So that's a huge issue with my demographic. They just feel like no one's noticing them and no one cares. So, and I'm sure that is across the board, because we all felt that, growing up and during our life at some point. I think you said to me at one point, imagine that you're looking at the camera and you're talking to that one person. And I still do that to this day. I'll pick out someone who's written me a comment or in my audience, and I'm just talking to them as if I'm talking to them. And that's how I feel, that I am doing that.
Isn't it amazing when you do that? Because I find I do that too. And then you'll get a message from that person, or you'll get something will happen because you physically, just energetically, you've sent this a message. And I find that, freaky things happen when you do that.
It is, because it's a transfer of your vibration and you're sending it out there. And that's the magic for people who feel scared or terrified in front of the camera, because, you're not doing it in front of a huge audience, technically. You're just doing it in front of this tiny little camera lens. And if you can bring what's in here out to that lens, well, then the rest can take care of itself. So it's not as terrifying as speaking in front of a huge audience at the beginning.
Next for you.
Sorry?
Which will be next.
Yeah.
I love it. So tell me, what's changed from when you think about the 100 subscribers that you had to 1 million subscribers? When you think about, that's a TV ratings. TV channels would kill for that kind of, subscriber base. So what's changed in you from 100 to 1 million?
I feel like I can have a big impact on the world now and make a difference. So when I had 100 subscribers, that wasn't even, I was still getting over the fear of doing what I was doing. So I wasn't thinking big picture. So that has changed.
Yeah, what was the biggest thing that that inner belief that shifted, I guess, from 100 to 1 million? Is it that when you're presenting, okay, this is going to help a lot more people, or what's shifted?
I had a shift that instead of standing in front of the camera and doing what I was doing and being terrified that I was being judged, I let that go. And then I just could be myself. And the more I was myself, the more impact I could have, because this is who I am. And this is exactly who I am. So it's like, if I'm going to act like this in front of my kids, my family who know me the best, well, then I'm showing myself. So I don't know. I just really feel like I lived into it, coming from a person who's shy. It was a very slow process. But I feel like after now that I'm here, I have more confidence in what I have to say, probably.
I love it. And what inner beliefs do you feel that shifted? Is there some beliefs you had that you had to, what were the biggest ones?
Yes, so many. There's so many. So the way that I was brought up by my family was a challenge. I had a hard upbringing, but my dad was very strict, and he was an athlete, and he was a competitive guy. He was an athlete. He was very strict, but he only sort of acknowledged me when I did well, And when I was a young girl, I was fat and I was not sporty at all. And, you know, I was okay at school, but not great. And so that was my dad's side. And then my mum, she was a yogi, and they were the complete opposite. But when I did well and succeeded, she didn't like it. She felt, yeah. So I had these two parents and they wanted something different from me. And I didn't know how to be. So if I ever showed off, you know, as a child, my mum, she literally wouldn't talk to me.
Wow.
So I learned that you can't ever show off or you can't ever be showy. But then when I was successful, my dad was so proud of me. He was like, oh my God, you know, you're the best thing ever. So they're the two things I've had to work with through my whole life to get to this point. And now I think I've integrated those two things and I see the benefit in both.
Like, did you do any personal development besides doing the YouTube channel and showing up? What helped you to get over those beliefs?
Well, I've been working on all of that, you know, since my early 20s and doing course after course after course and reading books because I knew that there was a lot going on in here with, you know, my crazy upbringing. But I guess when I had children and I looked at the way that I was parenting and the way that they were responding to me, I just kept learning more. And when I had my YouTube channel, it all was magnified by 1,000 because this isn't just my safe little family watching me. This is people out there in, you know, who can be really cruel and who'll pick at everything that you do. Mm. So when you experience that, it's like, oh, no. And I think sticking with it for me has been really good because it's helped build more layers and more strength and helped me come to terms with who I am because I didn't really know who I was supposed to be because there was these two conflicting models that I had to follow.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a really important lesson for so many people that struggle with being seen or just to keep going and keep working through it, and you will find the answers as well.
Yeah. And I think people who do have a struggle being seen, maybe they've had something similar to them as a child. You know, you might be 6 or 7 and, you know, I remember walking out with it and I thought I looked beautiful, you know. I had a dress on and I remember my mum saying, oh, do you think you look good, do you? And I went, oh, no, you know, I know I don't look good. And that kept repeating. So for me to do one of my videos and sort of a workout video and I dance around, like that's huge for me. Wow. Because that's in the back of my ear, you know, in the back of my thoughts. Oh, do you think you're good, do you? And it's terrifying. But then there's Dad going, oh, my God, you know, you're fit and you're healthy and you're successful. You're my hero. And Mum's going, I'm not going to talk to you because
Have they seen your YouTube channel? Or are they still?
They've both passed away.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a great relationship with my parents and my dad particularly as I got older, not when I was young.
Mm. Wow. I'm sure
it influenced and I'm sure it will influence a lot of people taking your courses with their fear factor. Find out why you're so scared and what it means to you if you do something that is against what felt comfortable when you were growing up.
I think just people hearing your story and just seeing how you've shown up, you've made that decision. And even though things happened, you didn't let that define you because you still had this yearning to make a difference to people.
Yeah, I had a yearning to make a difference and I had to move past all of that stuff. And I think if I didn't do this, I would be, you know, 20 years back in my growth because you have to keep pushing through.
Absolutely. And I feel a bit like that with the elephant documentary. It's not like I set out to make this documentary, but it's always there. It's
Yeah.
amazing at what shows up, and I just know that it's just something that I can't explain. That's just there.
Exactly.
It's a calling, and it's very similar. Didn't want to be seen either. So and I'm sure that's why like minds are attracted, because you help people overcome what you've been through, and that's what your channel represents so well. And people just, I know with our audience, they watch it and they're so inspired by you, because you share with people how to feel better, how to look better, and really be proud of who they are, no matter what age.
Yeah. And I don't share my story because I don't want people to focus on, oh, you've had a hard upbringing or whatever, because I want people to focus on, like, we've all had a tough. Like, I don't know one person who's had, smooth, happy, lollipop life. So we've all had to deal with things that are bad, and it's okay. It happened. Let's move through it and figure out what elements of strength that we can pull from that, and how can we shine.
So I love that.
Yeah.
And your beautiful shiny background is representing of that. If you could outline an exact pathway, and see with the other interviews I've done, because there have been about $1 million businesses.
Yep.
I've asked people to outline the steps from from 100,000 to $1 million. In the important steps, not every single step, because I know we'd be here all day.
Yeah.
But just what are the important steps going from, say, 0 to $1 million subscribers?
Okay.
What would the key outline steps be if somebody's watching you wanting to do something and make a difference?
The first step is to figure out what it is that is just you. Like, figure it out and then drill down on getting a really tight niche on that. Because I think a lot of people run into trouble when they think, oh, well, I'll just do it on this. I don't really know much about it, but everyone else is doing it, so I'm going to throw my hat into the ring. Like, what is it that what is it that you give to other people, or that other people say there's something special about you? What is that one thing? And then give that to everybody for free. Because, it's sometimes it's just like a mum's hug that's, people go to that person because they feel warm and nurturing. So if that's your thing, don't make a business around selling mascara, because that's may not be your passion. So figure out that one thing, drill down on exactly what it is and who you can serve, and then commit to showing up at least once a week.
And would you say that it's more than once a week these days? Now YouTube's growing, or still once a week is the key?
For me, it was always once a week. A lot of other people do 2 or 3 a week. Mm-hmm. But my second tip is absolutely your mental health is everything. Because once you lose the plot, you can't come back, and it's difficult. Mm-hmm. So if you commit to doing 2 or 3 videos a week and you've got your life, you are going to be stressed a lot. And if that stress is so overwhelming at the beginning, because at the beginning with a YouTube channel, there's no money. There's not much going on with that. Mm. So I would recommend that you make sure that each day that you're taking time for you. For me, I meditate and exercise, and in the afternoons I try and sit in the pool and just look out into the ocean or something like that. Mm-hmm. So that if you're not doing that, this is a hard gig.
So number one, find your thing that you are really good at. That one thing. And you've got to feel it, that you love it, you know it inside and out. You've done it forever.
Yes. Yeah. And another point on that is I got taught once in business, like, if you're going to teach something, you have to know 4 times more the amount than the audience knows. You don't have to know 1 million times more, but you have to know it. It's just comes to you. And then that's your thing. you might be good at helping people do something or working things out, or, like, look what you're good at, everything. But it's your one thing. You're not teaching people how to do something that you don't know how to do.
Like exercising to get fit arms. That's definitely not what I'm doing.
But this is the great thing about YouTube, because there are so many people in the world who have got that one thing that all of us can get a more open, broader perspective on life because we listen to that person. That's what I love.
And so if somebody was trying to fight, you don't look at niches, you don't look at all the keywords and get bogged down in that. So you find that one thing, make videos once a week.
Right.
And so what about the hashtags and the keywords and finding out what people want to watch? How important is that?
I think that's really important because, like, I didn't know this when I started my channel, but the algorithm gets to know you for something. So for me, it was arm videos. I didn't know this at the time. Someone told me like a year later, you've got to make more arm videos. And I said, well, I've made my arm video, and they said, no, the algorithm's going to suggest you for arm videos, which it did. So even though I have a lot of different topics that I cover, the algorithm knew me for that and, for other things as well. But when you're starting, like, make lots of videos about your one topic. So that's like, I was sharing with you the other day that I really love the way that these videos are edited, because I'm always trying to up my editing game. So I said, do you that would be really useful. Like if you made some videos on that, because, and then you get known for that. I'll go there. I'll look for that.
Yeah, and we had some really great suggestions too. I've already started, so don't you worry.
I'm going to watch them so I can learn.
And music video commentary, done that too. So don't watch out for those.
Oh, great! Yeah.
So what other steps? So you've got finding your passion, making consistency. What else?
Okay, research and education. I think for any business, because this is a business, we're self-publishers, we're creating content. So, learn how to use your camera properly, learn how to speak a little bit better than what you do, learn how to different topics that relate to your audience, like become a knowledgeable source about your audience and their needs. I think that's a really good thing. And, learn about YouTube, learn about the algorithm, learn about thumbnails.
Oh, yeah. Thumbnails are so important. And you've changed your thumbnails through the progression of your YouTube channel. Why was that?
Well, I went to a YouTube conference like in my first year, I think, and I had a little tiny meeting with a guy who's into thumbnails. And he looked at my thumbnails and he said, "Dear Lord, get rid of those thumbnails. They're horrible." And he said to me, "You're taking up too much space with words and you need to have more image, so more you." And so I started doing that and it really helped.
Great.
So for people who are making thumbnails, another thing to look for with thumbnails is if you look at other people's videos that have done very well, you'll find that there's, this much of your face and an expression is good, and less words are better.
Do you find though, because I'm finding on YouTube there is now lots of that style happening. There's lots of, if you do the comparison, there are so many people with that same expression or with a similar expression, or you've got to find something different and a bright color that stands out. Do you find you stick to your style guide with colors, or do you try things to stand out amongst the search terms?
Yeah, I try things. Well, I try different things all the time just to see if I can, work it better. There are people who do this for a living, and Mr. Beast is quickly becoming the biggest YouTube channel. But I know he spends like a week on one thumbnail.
Wow. And do you know what I learned actually on the weekend was that Netflix has 30 thumbnails per image that you see on Netflix. There's 30 images that they change depending on if you click on it or not. So they're constantly changing their thumbnails to encourage you to click on the movie.
That's exactly right. So if they don't click on it, they don't see what you have to say. So it's hard. It's hard. So, you know, a good way to do it is to look for your video, scroll through all of the titles that are similar or same topic, and just scroll through quickly and say, would I pick my own thumbnail? Or would I pick that one? And what if I pick that one, what is it about that that's catching my eye? Because we're very visual and it's quick. Boom, 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 boom. Yep, I'll watch that. I'll watch that.
And it's like a magazine, a stand. That's why I look at it. It's seeing all these magazines there. Which one jumps out at you? Just the same way.
Yeah. And it's tricky.
I love that. What other steps in your path to 1 million subscribers would you say? And would you say that all of your subscribers have come from YouTube? So there's been no networking or going out or speaking on stages or books or anything else that people do?
No, it's all been organic. I haven't done any networking or any collaborations or nothing at this stage. Because I told you my story, I've got to live my way into that, and that will come when I'm ready. But at the moment I'm not, so it's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up about that. And I have missed a lot of opportunities. But it depends what you think an opportunity is as well, because I'm happy, you know, the way things are at the moment. But the steps, I think, you know, if you're talking about going from naught to 100,000 to $1 million, is to invest. Invest. Don't spend. Spend on your business and live without all the doodah. You know, we don't need all that stuff. So I think that's a really good thing to have for financial means.
That's a really good tip too, because everyone is like, oh, I need this and I need this. And it's like, you just want to be happy. Like what gives your soul that happiness? And since we've been living off the grid and I'm in the garden, who would have thought that I'd get so much passion out of growing a lettuce, you know?
Right, because it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. And when your health is taken away from you, then you think the only thing that's important in my life is my health, because after health, everything else can follow. But if you don't have your health, it doesn't matter if you've got $1 billion and a yacht and a helicopter and a private chef. So what? You're sick.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good idea to change your perception of all of that, and I think that is easier to do when you're older, because you've lived through a whole lot of life experiences that wake you up a little bit. Because when you're young, your health is, oh, well, you know.
Invincible. And also when you're saving, it's like save when you're young. It's like, oh, I could save. I've got plenty of time for that, you know.
Right. Yeah. But if you can invest in your business and in yourself, in education, then it's like my husband always says to our kids, you know, do the uncool thing now so you can be cool when you're older. And the uncool thing is to work hard, save your money, and not go out and continually learn something new. That's really uncool when you're 20 or 25. But it's really cool when you're 50 and you don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Very true. Very true. It's great advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anything else in your pathway to 1 million subscribers? Like, what did you do to celebrate when you hit 1 million? Did you have some champagne? What did you do to celebrate that?
I did have champagne, but I flew down to Sydney to be with the kids, so we could all celebrate together, and we went out for dinner. But part of my upbringing that I told you about earlier was you keep everything very low key. We don't show off. We don't make a big deal of it. You know, if you do that, it's bad. So I'm working through that as well. And the people around me really wanted to celebrate, but in me, I have to
Really? So you didn't you went out for dinner and you were doing did the cheers and
Yeah, we went out for dinner and celebrated, but it was very subtle. And I was with the people, if I could be with anyone in the world, I would be with my family and my kids.
Yeah.
So I was happy. But I didn't feel like I wanted to make a huge big deal out of it because, and also I think, well, just because I've reached 1 million subscribers doesn't really mean anything to anybody else. It's like my little fun thing that's happened. Like, it's not going to make your life any different. And I want to make people's lives better.
Actually, it did. I was so excited.
Oh, well, that's good.
So
Thank you.
it did do it. I know how hard you've worked. So
yeah, thank you.
I just thought, look, it's all, you've been consistent, you've shown up. It's a lot of work making a video. If people are looking going, yep, I'm just going to make a YouTube channel. How long, from when you started making videos to now, how long does one video take you?
It can take me, it does. It can take me a week. Like you research, you plan. If I'm doing a workout, I've got to practice it, get the music, get everything right, get the timing, then go and film it. And then it doesn't work. And then about 1,000 things go wrong. Yep. And then you've got to edit out all of your mistakes and, if there's any, or sometimes there's none. And then you add in all your transitions and your clocks. It takes forever.
And so how long, if you had to piece all that together in days or hours, how long would you say a video takes you now to complete from start to finish?
It depends how long the video is and what kind of a video it is. But the minimum it would take me is to film and edit in a day. That would be my whole day booked out. But that's not usually the case. It takes me a lot longer than that. And when I first started, it was taking me, 15 hours or more. And part of that is because I'm old school and I'm not, I didn't grow up with computers. So I have to learn everything.
And do you edit yourself still?
Yeah, Chris and I do the editing, but we would really like to outsource that at some point. But I still do everything, and I don't have a team of people sort of working with me, and that's changing as well because it's exhausting.
Yeah, and you can show up and then present and do the research and do.
Yeah.
So moving forward, what's your big goal with your YouTube channel now?
Well, my big goal now that I'm more confident in me, I guess, is to make it that, make it known that being over 50 in your 50s, 60s and 70s is a really good place to be. And I don't think that's the society norm at the moment. It's just like, yeah, she's old, whatever. But it's like, no, my goal would be to have just people cheering for their age.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah, going on, like, I get so many comments and people go, I'm 54 and a half, or I'm 73, or I'm, they're proud. Like, I'm 73 and I'm rocking out all these exercises and I'm trying on different makeup looks and everything. I love that. Because it gives them something, because when you're creative and you're doing something new, it keeps you young. So all of these women are just amazing. And then they're doing then they're making themselves feel good. And when they feel good, the people they're with feel good. And then it sort of spreads. And then, it's everybody's helping the world in a very small way by feeling a little bit better than they did before.
And is there a story that you can remember that's touched your life the most since you've been doing YouTube? That the one in particular that's really, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories. A lot of people, send me their precious stories. One lady, I think she touched my heart the most. Her daughter had died, her adult daughter. I think it was a suicide, and she hadn't been able to get out of bed for a year. She just couldn't reconcile that tragedy, and I can understand that. And she said she used to watch my videos, just, watch it, not do anything, and just sort of one day she got out of bed and she did a very small 5-minute workout. And then the next day she did it again and she did it again. And she said slowly over a period of a month, She was out of bed. That part of her life, that grieving, was finished, and then she'd moved forward, and she was getting fit and healthy and feeling good about herself. So stories like that, it's like, oh, like it's pretty big.
That's beautiful. And and what about, how do you deal with the other comments? Because the bigger you get, have you found that and I know it's not the thing to focus on, but it's just good to talk about this, to how you deal with the negative comments or any people or trolls that do come your way. Do you have them, and how do you deal with them?
I'm really lucky that I don't get hardly any of that. When I think I got more at the beginning, and it floors you when it happens the first time. You think, oh my God, how could they say that? People are so cruel. But it's the way that I process that is, for someone to say that, they have to be hurting real bad to go out of their way. Like, I literally don't have time to type one more word in my day than I do. Like, they've got the time to sit there and write something cruel. But it's not about me. It's about their essence and their,
I love that you don't have many. And the reason being is because of just what you focus on. If people focus a lot on that, then that's going to happen. But you're focusing on making a difference, and the odd one might come up, but it's not what you give it any time or energy or that vibration. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen very often. And when it does, like, I understand. Like, one lady wrote to me once, and she said, I'm so sorry that I gave you a cruel comment last week. She said, I've got borderline personality disorder, and sometimes I hate you and sometimes I love you. And I understand that disorder. I get it. So she's just
dealing with her stuff.
She's going through her stuff, and we've all got stuff. So, like, I understand that that's how people feel. And that's just life. And I've put myself out there, and that's what comes. And another thing I was terrified is getting, like, a lot of creepy men on commenting, and I don't get any of that at all.
Wow.
So thank you to the men for not being creepy, because it is offensive to a lot of women who get that. So I just don't think that that's part of what I'm putting out there. So I'm not getting it back.
And your message is really clear too, that the fabulous and the 50s, and it's women and it's empowerment, all those things.
We're not here to be single women, looking for a date. We're here to get empowered and to feel strong and to feel good about ourselves. So we don't attract that kind of an audience.
Wow, that's fantastic. I love that.
You slip through, but, not a lot.
Well, when you've got a magic husband like you have, Chris, that's there, I mean,
But Chris helps me a lot, which is amazing, because he can be very grounding when I get,
Right. Oh, you two are a fantastic team, with the editing and the support, and because it takes a lot of, like you say, a commitment and a week, and you're researching and editing, and all of that takes time. So it is definitely a commitment when you do make a channel, for sure.
Yeah.
And would you say it's a long-term game, YouTube?
Yes, absolutely. If your audience is thinking of starting a channel or has a channel that's not doing great, like, it's long term. Like, it's like, I kind of see it as if you're going to create a YouTube channel, you can make it, if you think about it as if you're going to make it your mission. So your mission in life, when you look back, isn't something you did one day or 1 year. Your mission is something that is a culmination of all these little steps you've taken over your life. So, when you're 80 years old and you look back and what did I do? So that's how I like to think of my YouTube channel. It's like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm helping in the way that I can, and I'm doing the best that I can. And It's all stacking.
How do you feel when you watch the first video that you posted on your channel?
I cringe.
But how much have you grown? And you wouldn't have been where you are now if you hadn't have gone through that.
Yeah, that's right. And you can see my absolute shyness in my first videos because I was terrified. Like I loved what I was talking about, but I was still, while I'm talking, I'm thinking, what are they thinking of me? Which is, now I don't think that. When I'm talking, I think, how can I make them feel good? Or if I'm doing a workout, I'm staring into the camera going, come on, come on, come on, come on, keep it up, keep it up. You got this, with my mind. So
I love that. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's the difference now. Whereas when I first started, it's like, oh my God, are they noticing all my wrinkles? Are they noticing this? Or are they noticing that, you know, my Aussie accent or whatever?
I love it. So we're all about following your crazy ideas. And this has come from the Elephant documentary.
Oh, yes. I love it.
So we love to inspire people to dream bigger and follow those inspiring thoughts. And as you've done with your YouTube channel, what's your crazy idea that you have now that you are following? And what is it? Share it with us. What's your crazy idea you want to make a difference in now that you've got the confidence and all of the things that you can do?
I have so many crazy ideas, Rachel.
Good.
I've got more ideas than I've got hours in the day. And I've just got so many things. But, you know, my crazy idea is...
Craziest.
I don't think it has anything to do with, you know, like, I just want to make a difference. I want to make people smile. I want to make people feel good about themselves. Like one of
your ideas you mentioned that I think would be a huge shift in society would be that, especially in our society, is the when women get older, just that people just love that and admire women and not go, oh, they're getting older, or take them away from jobs because they think they're getting older. Like that would be a huge shift in society.
If I could make that shift, like people to be so proud of how old they are, like that would make, like, don't, you know, my mum, for example, my mum changed her age, like literally on her driver's license and on her Medicare card, everything, because she didn't want anyone to think she was old. And that was just one of her things and when she passed away, we had so much trouble because all of her documents were falsified.
So you didn't quite know how old she was?
We did, but the rest of the world didn't know how old she was. But that's helped me as well, because I used to think, Mum, you should have been so proud. She was still doing yoga. She passed away at 74. And she was doing yoga and massage and she's a Reiki master. She was doing all that in her 70s. And like, wow, to me, that's huge. That's like
amazing.
I'm so proud of that. But she didn't want anyone to know she was old.
Wow.
So,
and that's your crazy idea then, to shift.
My crazy idea is like, let's show everyone how old we are. Like, why not? Why not make that a good thing? Because it's revered in many countries and cultures. But in the Western culture, it's you're old, you're not useful anymore. And I think we take on that and we believe in that and we just sort of do this.
It's a paradigm. It's a cultural paradigm, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So paradigm shift would be a really great thing. If I could do that, I would be really happy.
Wow, that's a fantastic legacy.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last question, if there's somebody watching thinking they want to start a YouTube channel, what's the most important lesson that you'd give them? And I think you did touch on this before around finding what you're good at or what you love. What would be the most important lesson you'd give them?
I would say if you want to start a YouTube channel or working with video at all, get your phone out and just practice and practice and practice. I think, did you teach me this, Rachel? Just get your phone out and talk to say your message over and over again. and listen to yourself speak and look at yourself on camera. And then one day you're just used to it and it makes sense. So that gives you the confidence to actually go and load your first video onto YouTube, because it's not hard to start a channel. You just go and find a name and fill in the form and then you go. But listen, like if whatever that thing is that you do so well, that other people know that you do well, if you can just talk to your phone like little short bursts of knowledge and listen to yourself and go, oh, I actually know a lot about that. And I think I sound really good. And just do it. Who cares what anybody else thinks? Because if you can take on the mindset that this is going to be your legacy, it doesn't have to happen this year. It doesn't have to happen next year. As long as you do it by the time you're 85, 90, 100, and it's a slow process. Make it your legacy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And with what's next for you? Movies, Oprah, like.
Next for me, I'm creating a course that I've been researching for 18 months, this content, and I've been working with a team of PhD nutritionalists, and we've come up with a food plan that really works for women over 50, menopausal, postmenopausal, perimenopausal and postmenopausal women. And that's really exciting. And we've got a lot of mindset elements in there to help us get from where we are to where we want to be. So that's really exciting. And what else? I'm also working on a few other projects that I'm excited to get started, but I've done lots of things, but haven't got anything ready to launch yet, because I just want to keep making it better and better.
When will the course be ready to launch?
The course will be ready to launch. Have a bit more time.
I hold you to it.
I would like it to be ready already, but I keep having more elements that I want to include, and more research that I want to, dig a bit deeper into. So, yeah, it'll be ready this year.
Yeah. So sometime this year.
Sometime this year.
Yeah, beautiful. And look, that's incredible that I love that you have really taken in something that's really important to a lot of women and wanted to find a solution. And that's what I love about what you were sharing with me the other day, that you've sought out people because there was no research, there was nothing out there to give you the answers. So you found the people and you're getting all that so that you can help people in the best possible way. And that's just, it's incredible what you do. You have integrity and passion, and it's very inspiring to watch.
Thank you, Rachel.
So thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to share with anybody watching this? Because I know there'll be so many people watching this from our community that are so inspired about you.
Well, to everyone in your community, I say congratulations for being, taking this step, because it's challenging and it's confronting, and you can only go up from where you are now. Wherever you are now, every step you take is going to, build on what you've got. And if you're doing Rachel's course, you've obviously got a message you want to share with the world, and, feel the fear and do it anyway. It sounds like, a cliche saying, but it's so true. And Rachel, you and Michael are amazing teachers as well. So
thank you.
They've got that going for them, and you actually care about people. And that was evident to me when I did your course, that you actually cared about me and about what I was doing and about helping me find the answers that I needed. So,
and the difference too I see out there too is we do care beyond, when you go somewhere else, and you're constantly learning. All the people in our community I want to hang out with, they're so cool. They're just really cool people that make a difference. And how cool is that when your community is people you want to hang out with.
Yeah, you're smart women wanting to make a difference. Like there's nothing better than that. And another thing with you and Michael, I don't know if I told you this at the time, but Chris and I have always had our business motto was give them more than they expect. And we did that for 30 years in business, and I think we did it well. And we came across you, and you do that too. So that's what I loved. And you really actually did do that.
Thank you. Oh, look, I'm just so inspired, and I wanted to share this milestone, and it just came to me the other day because it's the $1 Million Women series, and I'm just like, oh, I'll just check where Shelley's at with her YouTube channel. Oh my God, it's 1 million. Then we have to celebrate. So I know you don't do interviews very often, so I'm really grateful that you came on and shared your experience and your knowledge to inspire others in our community. So thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Anything for you. And good luck to all of your fabulous ladies who are creating videos.
And subscribe to Fabulous 50s if you haven't already. Love it. Thank you, Shelley.
Thanks, Rachel. Bye.